How does one take Jesus into the workplace? Where can a Christian find the tools to know how to win at work? Well, stay tuned to meet a man who can teach you all this and more. My name is Yvonne Lewis, and you're watching Urban Report. Hello and welcome to Urban Report. My guest today is Erid Kelly, and I had the privilege of sitting on the set with Erid on the Work in the Dream set, which is one of Dare to Dream's newest programs. You are going to love it. Take a look at this little interview. I am so excited because I'm sitting on the set of Dare to Dream's new God in the Workplace program. It's called Work in the Dream. And the host of that program is Erid Kelly, and he's with me right now.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Erid, Work in the Dream is, to me, it is one of the best programs we have on Dare to Dream. I can't wait for our viewers to see it.
Awesome.
Because it's got all of these different elements in it. And it's got comedy, it's got it's got reality. You know, we look at different things, and we'll talk about what we're looking at on the program. But it's got all these different elements in it, letting our viewers know that we're not to compartmentalize God, that God is to go with us into the workplace. Because He's with us at church, right, in school, but not in the workplace. How did this program come to be? I know that I brought you an idea about us doing a program, but how did this program with the scripts and all that, how did it come to be?
A couple of things happened. I have a personal passion, and most of this is out of my pain. I have a personal passion for sharing with people, how do you survive at work? And having figured out you can't do it without God.
True.
Later on, after you get beat up, you say,
That's
okay,
right.
God, I'm ready. Started to kind of put some ideas together. There's a young gentleman at our church named Brian Montgomery. He's a playwright. We bounce ideas off of each other. In fact, I like hanging with the younger people. No offense to those of us that have been around since Eisenhower.
Hey, watch it.
But I love the energy and the creativity. In fact, if you ever want to see a team work, get the experience of the folks that have been here with some of the creative know-how and technology of the younger folks. Man, if we really put that together, do you know what kind of ministries that we could have and the people that we could actually touch? So we began to work on some things, and most of the stories come out of a kind of a personal pain. I'm the son of a pastor. I was raised very, very well, went to a good Christian college. I was taught all the right things, but I didn't have the spiritual connection here. But I went to church. I was a good kid, so I go to church now.
That's a good contrast, you know,
Yes.
because you can go to church and you can just, you know, you go in a devil and come out a devil, right?
Absolutely. Oh, in fact, you know, people give going to church a bit more credit than it should. And as a kind of a corny saying I use sometimes, that sitting in church doesn't make you any more of a Christian than sitting in your garage makes you a Lamborghini. Because it's not the place, it's what you're doing in the place. And I still go to church. No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nobody's saying don't go to church.
I still go to church, but there's a realness there. Now when I go, I hang out with other people who are kind of real about their spirituality. We don't always agree on everything, but we do believe in Jesus Christ, believe in God Almighty, and that brings us together, and from there on, we're brothers and sisters, and it is great. But prior to that happening, I was kind of out here on my own.
How did you go from being a PK, and PKs are in church every Sabbath, you know, you went from being a PK to going out to coming back and saying, you know, now it's a different,
I think what happens often when you're in church so much, you get desensitized to what's really going on there. You learn some of the organizational woes, and trust me, whether you're at church or a business, any operation that has more than 2 people is a hopeless bureaucracy. So if you hang out wherever, you're going to get, you know, some of the negatives. Actually, I went to work, and I was blessed to have educated parents. And so I figured I could pretty much figure out anything. And I went to work, and all these people were there, and I said, I'm smarter than this one, that one. I'm going to be president of this thing in a week. I don't know. They need to get my office ready. And I'm just hired in now.
Right.
Kid in his 20s trying to figure things out. And there's a set of unwritten rules that they don't train you about. Nobody tells you about these things in school.
Such as?
Don't drive a car better than your bosses. If your boss has any ego issues, now let me draw the scenario. You're a young kid, you're coming in, you've got extra cash. First of all, you don't have any kids, you're not married, it's just you, your apartment. You have extra spendable cash to blow. So you get this sports car. Boss comes in, he's wearing this twisted seersucker suit, he's already got 5 kids, his check is stretched to the max, he got a station bag with Rust-Oleum on it, and you pull up in your sports car. Oh, that's not gonna work. You're about to have a bad day. Now, nobody writes that down, but there's some smart people watching this, they go, well, we know that. So there are subtle things there that, and I do executive coaching now and mentoring, there are subtle things there that you don't know going in. And you think because you're smart and you went to school that you have no clue what's about to happen.
So when you got to your first job, what was your spiritual condition then? Oh,
I was so sad. I went and got a cute little sports car. I'm single. There are gorgeous women everywhere. I said, God has been good. I knew I was blessed. I had a job, a car, and we're about to have a good time. And what happens is, my belief is that Satan lets you be okay for a little bit. Where you think this is how life is going to be. This is great. I had no spiritual connection. I did not wake up in the morning being connected, but I could still go to church and play the part.
Oh, so you were still going to church.
I was still going to church.
But you kind of lost your connection.
Oh, absolutely. There's a couple of pieces that I've seen people talk about being lost in the church.
Oh, yes.
Going to church, it's not the building. It's what's my condition when I'm coming into the building. So I went to church, and I can do the church talk. How are you, my sister? Isn't God good?
Happy Sabbath.
I'm thinking about the next party I'm going to go to. In fact, as soon as I leave here, I'm about to go get in some foolishness. So I wasn't convicted at all to get closer to God. I just played the game.
What happened?
I went to work, and one of the first things that I ran into was a sense of things aren't going to be fair. So I walked in. Now, trust me, I did some dumb things. Believe it or not, I had an afro. I had an afro the size of this room. And I've never been a tiny, tiny person. So the biggest afro, big guy coming in football, I went into a very conservative room, very conservative company. I had a jumpsuit, and I had my little medallion with the little black fist right there. And I'm pretty sure I scared the mess out of everybody in that room. And if they had known me, they would say, oh, this guy is a cream puff. But I mean, what they saw was a 6-foot+ big guy with a giant afro. What do you do? And when people respond out of fear, they do some pretty wild things. I wasn't mean. I was always looking for fun and the party. But I got lost. And as I decided, hey, I'm going to move up, and I saw what it took to move up, I started imitating those people, and I said, I'm better than this one, I'm smarter. And what I wasn't ready for is there is an invisible pecking order in most organizations.
Okay, unpack that a little bit.
Okay. There's 7 people in this room, you walk in. If we're competing for something, regardless as to your skill and ability, these people have time in line ahead of you. So you may look at them and say, I'm better than them. And you may be, but that's irrelevant because they're going to be rewarded based on that pecking order. And that's not just pure ability, it's also their time in the relationship with the people that are making the decisions. And none of that's in school. Nobody ever tells you that.
And see, this is another one of those unwritten rules.
Absolutely. And I was pretty much done. Then I ran into some just basic, blatant, unfair things that were said and done to me based on how I looked. Well, I'm not going to be able to change the color of my skin. I can cut my afro down and scare you a little less, but I am who I am. And instead of responding by going to the Father, I went sideways. I said, man, I got to find some relief out of this thing. So I got into little substances that made you feel better on your way home.
Okay.
And I said, oh, the heck with those people. And that's a slow, gradual slide toward away from anything that is closely resembling going to God. I went to my stash to feel better, rather than God, please make my heart feel better. Please give me peace while I'm being persecuted. Please, I didn't do any of that. I went my own way. And that spiral went down for a while. Satan doesn't destroy you instantly.
That's so true. That's so true. He's a torturer, you know. He wants to do it over time. And it's kind of like in the frog that's in the boiling water, right? That frog story. You know, you just turn this eye up gradually, the fire up gradually, and the frog doesn't even realize it before you know he's boiled. And that's what Satan does.
Satan does.
He takes his time and destroys. That's his job. His job is to destroy.
Absolutely. But he can only get you if you've let go of God's hand.
That's right.
He cannot take you out.
That's right.
So I hit rock bottom. And
did the substances take hold of you?
I was absolutely. It's demonic. And with them, you lose hope, you lose any belief that it can get better, and you also lose your belief in the fact that God can help you. And that's all Satan wants is your faith.
That's right.
That God can actually help you. So a turning point was, I remember I was in a situation where I was getting help and I was at the bottom of life. I have so destroyed my life. And I called my pop, who I love dearly. I said, Dad, and I told him exactly where I was. And it's interesting, I didn't understand what condemnation meant. And there is no condemnation in those that are trusting in God to save. And I didn't know what that meant then. I was out there. So I called Pop, I said, Dad, here's where I'm at. And I told him the absolute, everything that was going on. You know, the first thing he said back to me blew me away. He said, I love you. Here's the pastor, he could say, we trained you better than that, young man. He said, I love you. Then he said, God loves you. And the third thing I didn't get till years later, he said, oh, you're no worse than anybody else. I said, I'm strung out. I'm no worse than anybody else based on what I'm looking at. But I didn't understand that everybody is faced with the condition of sin.
That's right.
And some of our addictions are out front.
That's right. That's
and a lot of my good holy people, their addictions are, they're hidden a little bit better than mine.
A little covert. Absolutely.
And it was after that I wanted to come back. I said, I don't know who God is yet, really, but I want to know who his God is. And that was the beginning of the comeback.
Wow. So your dad just loved you. He just loved you back.
Through everything.
Yes, yes.
No condemnation ever. In fact, if you ever talk to him.
I love your dad.
No matter what.
We need to let you know who his dad is. It's T. Marshall Kelly, the amazing singer, speaker, and the amazing man of God. I mean, you can just sense that he has such a relationship. Real. It's not fake. It's not, he just seems so, I love your dad.
I'm his kid.
So authentic.
I'm his kid. I've lived with him for all those years. Never once yelled, never once said a bad word, never ever. A couple of times I was glad he left the room where he didn't kill me. But I'm still here. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes,
thanks, Dad.
Yes, amen. But it's so interesting that you went from spiraling down to coming to your senses, and then look where God has brought you today.
I will tell you, my career came up. It came up after that. And it would plateau and then jump up, and plateau and then jump up. Eventually, I became vice president of a multi-million-dollar corporation. Most of the time, I'm director, senior director, junior vice president, and God is just blessed. I mean, there are times I would sit in an office and wonder, whoa, how did I get here? But since I know how I got there, it wasn't me. So I can't use the word I have to say he put me in this room.
Yes.
So that I can bless somebody else.
Yes.
And there have been so many lessons that have happened even since then that I realize every day is going to be a new adventure. I don't know what's going to happen, but at the end of it, I absolutely know God is going to take care of me.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Why do you think we need a program like Working the Dream?
People go to work, and if there's ever a time or a point where sometimes I think we're becoming increasingly vulnerable, it's at work. Right now in our society, work is everything. People give up family duties to take care of their work. They find a way to rationalize not having relationships with the loved ones in their life due to work. Well, I've got to go to work, I've got to make money. We're all out there spending more, buying more. We're so driven by consumerism and materialism that work seems to be the only place that we can justify our existence, why we do what we do. And I think Satan just capitalized on that. So you're coming to work, he knows all the problems you have. He sends me, who's full of the dark side, to wait on you. You come in and say good morning, and he goes, boy, I think I can get her through this guy today. And I work your last nerve. And then you lose faith. And that's all he wanted in the first place, was your faith.
Mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So co-workers, they're designed, the ones that are under his power, they're designed to take your faith.
That's really deep. Now that is really deep. Just like there are people in every congregation that can work your nerves,
Yes.
there are people at the workplace that can work your nerves.
Satan's got his people everywhere, but God's got people too.
That's right.
I've been blessed to work under some tremendous Christian executives. So when somebody wants to paint all the execs with a brush, not even. I've worked for CEOs that were so Christian. I'm not saying just, we go to church, do anything wrong. I mean Christian men, men of compassion, men that lead, men that if there's a layoff, they feel it in their spirit. In other words, they're not callous about it. And I've been very blessed to work with some of those. And I've had a couple of the other side too.
I know.
So
and you reflect that in the program. We have a little clip from the program that we want to show. On Working the Dream, we want to give you some funny experiences, but yet we want to give you information. And that's what you're going to get. Take a look at this clip.
Has my 4 o'clock arrived yet? Already.
Oh, they told me to come in here. You must be the Mr. Martin they be telling me about, man. Oh, man, this looks like a good day for me.
Jonas Martin, and you are?
Grant, but everybody call me G-Stacks. You call me whatever you want, man, because you the man with the job that's going to make me happy. I feel good today. Yeah, my brother.
Tell me a little about yourself.
Man, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm the slam dunk champion, the chess champion, the checker champion. I move product in the neighborhood. I got the highest score on Call of Duty. What else you want to know, my brother?
All right, let's skip that. Why did you apply for the position that we have here today?
Why? Look, I need some money. The G notes, the C notes. I need the paycheck. That's why I'm here, brother. I got pockets, but ain't none in them.
Couple of things. I'm looking at your resume, and by the way, could you remove those sunglasses, please?
Oh man, my bad, man. It was sunny outside today. Woo, man. The doctor told me I gotta protect these here eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I had to wear these things, but I think they'll stay on my head. Don't worry about it. I got it together.
By the way, on your way over to the interview, you didn't run into any traffic jams or anything,
I
did
gotta
you?
apologize about this. See, I set my clock for 3. Well, what happened when I woke up, I found out the batteries had died, man, and the cat chased the dog, took the other alarm clock down the hall. I was tied to his collar, and the neighbor was supposed to be my backup alarm, but they fell asleep too.
All right. We just have to get through this interview. Now, the position that we're talking about is that of junior analyst. And actually, your work experience is not too bad. It's pretty good. You got 4 colleges, 6 different majors. Just a hint, Mr. Grant. When you're applying for a job, you don't need to list every college you went to and everything you studied, just the last college you attended and the last course of study that you graduated from.
See, the bottom line was, I didn't know which position was going to get me the most money, bang for the buck. So I decided, studied the whole thing, be well-rounded. That's why I came. I got it all, the degrees.
Now, I see also that you studied theology. Now, pastors, as a rule, don't make a lot of money. What was your thinking?
First of all, I don't look like a pastor today, but man, you watch TV, man. Them pastors be making some big dollar bills, y'all. Selling snake oil, prayer claws, splinters from the tree of life, and all that stuff. So if I can't make it in the real world, I'm gonna make some money as a pastor. That's what I'm trying to say.
I understand.
But don't you worry about it.
What makes you think you're a good fit for this particular position?
Man, I got the experience, I got the education, plus I bring some swagger. You know, nobody in this company so far that I've seen got swagger, and this company needs some swagger. That's what G-Stack bring to the table.
You do have swagger. Mm-hmm. Sadly, there's no particular position that requires swagger. So it's going to be a little tough for us to kind of place you because your skill set is a little different.
Yo, man, how long is it going to take, man? I got 8.5 minutes you've been talking, trying to fit me in, but I parked in a 10-minute parking slot, man. In a minute and a half, I'm going to get told. How long is it going to take, man?
Well, actually, our interview is really quite finished. We're pretty much done here. And I want to thank you for coming in.
Yeah, okay, now, I got 30 seconds more. While I'm leaving, though, don't forget this, man. See, I got it. G-Stack got what you need, what this company need, and the best decision you can make, sorry about the glasses, is to fit me into this office, you know what I'm saying? You're going to need what I got, and you got what I need. I'm out, my brother. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. Call me.
You know, those scenes are really, I mean, to me, they're so funny. Pastor John Loma King, Pastor C.A. Murray, they opted to be in the program, and they were just, and John Ramirez, they were just really good. Yeah. But what we show you is how not to do certain things, how not to interview, and also the correct way to interview. So while it's entertaining, it's also informative.
Absolutely.
And that's what you wanted to accomplish, is it not?
I wanted people to enjoy it, but I wanted them to have information, because in having worked with HR departments and people that are making the decisions on jobs, I have seen so many things. I've seen why resumes get rejected. I've seen why people lose it in their interviews. For instance, people that send a 3 or 4 page resume, you might as well put it in the trash.
Really?
They're never going to read it.
It's just too much.
Too long.
How long should it be?
A page and a half at best. So if, let's say you do walk on water, and let's say you can fly without your cape, just put down the highlights and keep it short, because it's too long. And the people in HR that are going through hundreds of resumes, a 5-pager is just, it's too much to throw in the trash.
Right. It's overwhelming.
Absolutely.
If you have a stack of papers, the last thing you want to do is just sit there and read.
Absolutely.
So you want to just kind of go through it.
That's exactly it. I want to thumb through it.
You had an interesting experience
Yes.
in your life that really kind of brought you to your senses. What happened?
A couple of things happened, and I've shared with you that the career would go up and then plateau and go up and plateau. So I am very comfortable that God is growing me and developing me. And I don't know the answer yet, and I don't care. You know, one day I get to heaven and the tree of life, I'm good with that.
Yes.
I'm good. But a couple of things happened. I think I shared with you, our companies merged. And when you're on a merger situation, you only need half the people there. So I was without. So there I was without a job, and I put some money away, so I wasn't terribly upset. And I said, okay, God's always taken care of me my entire life, and I'm good. And a couple of months went by. I said, okay, God, you know, we can get something going. A couple of more months went by. So after about 6 or 8 months, God and I started to have some deep conversations. Mm-hmm. I said, God, I need you to come through for me. Now, let me give you my personality a little bit. Where I grew up in the city, one of the favorite phrases I had was, I don't care what you did to me, I ain't no punk, you can't beat me down. If you beat me up, I'm gonna try to get off the ground and find a brick or something. If you're bigger than me, you're stronger. So I would always say, you know, I ain't no punk, whatever, I can take it, I can do anything. So fear is not a motivator for me, it doesn't really, and I remember kind of saying that over and over again. And then one day, I was totally broken down. It was about 9 or 10 months without a job. I don't care how much money you saved up, it gets a little scary right about then. So I remember I curled up on my family room rug, and somewhere this got impressed on my spirit. I could almost hear God say, so, are you a punk? And I heard myself say, yes. And I think what he was doing was, look, you've been running around thinking that you're strong. There's nothing that's happened to you in your life because of your strength. Now, here's the kicker on that one. Within 2 weeks of that happening, I was consulting on a big project in Stavanger, Norway.
Wow.
God went from here to here in seconds.
You
So-
just needed to be broken first and to understand your source.
People don't like this, and this might make this segment a little bit unpopular. God can only help broken people. He said that. Blessed are. Because when you have any sense of self, any sense of I, he can't work through you.
That's right.
And that's dangerous for us at work.
Yes. Yeah. It's dangerous everywhere. I mean, really, when it becomes about us,
Absolutely.
then I think the Lord just kind of steps back and says, okay,
Let me see what happens.
let's see what you got.
And we always come back to, no, yeah, because Satan is trying to destroy us, and without God, we're unprotected.
That's right. So in 1 minute, what do you expect to achieve with Working the Dream?
I believe God's going to use what we share in many different ways. I believe there are people out there that are looking for a job. They're going to hear things. They're going to help them get that job. I believe that there are people out there attempting to keep a job that are going to hear things and say, oh, I need to function this way. And we're going to tell it like it is. We're kind of straight with this thing. And I believe that people out there that God wants to promote, he wants to grow them in their positions, but they need to be his hands and his arms and his eyes, not just, I need to achieve so that I can be better than you.
Right.
And I believe they're going to get all of that, and they're going to be blessed and encouraged.
Well, you know what? From watching that program, I know they are. This program it's rich. And I just thank you and Brian for getting involved and immersing yourselves into this whole process. We really appreciate what you've done. You have to make sure that you watch Working the Dream. I'm so excited about it. And just check with the schedule. You'll be able to see when it's on. Thank you so much,
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you for having us.
You're a dear. Thank you. What a blessing Eric is. Working the Dream is going to teach you the unwritten rules that executive mentors share with only a few of their favorites. Make sure to check the D2D schedule to confirm airing dates and times. Wow, I can't believe that we've reached the end of another program. We are so blessed by these programs, and we hope and pray that you are too. So make sure that you join us next time, because you know what? It just wouldn't be the same without you.